Hi, I'm Erin with Cozyshoppe Productions, and today we are going to be doing 3 braided hairstyles for lazy girls with curly hair. And we're using Sarah as our model, and here we go. Okay, first I grabbed a tiny hairband so I can put a little bit of her hair back. So I just took a little section off the top, and I just kind of brushed it back to make sure all the lumps are smoothed out and everything, and just put it in a ponytail, just at the crown of her head. Well, kind of behind the crown of her head, I guess. You part it right above where the hairband is, and then just loop it through. And I just fixed that to try to make it neater and a little nicer looking. And then you're going to do the same thing underneath. There's that one perfect curl that I had to stop and marvel at. So I did forget to grab the hairband, so I had to go back and do that. And then I'm just parting the hair slightly farther down, so you have about the same amount of hair as the first one. And then I was leaving pieces in the front to frame her face. And you put all the hair from the first one and the section that you just grabbed in the small hairband. And then once you have that one, you're going to part the section between your 2 hairbands, between the one you already did and the one you just made. And you're going to loop that through like you did with the first one. And then I'm just tightening that up a little bit, and now I'm grabbing another hairband because at the bottom of this I'm going to do a fishtail, which if you've never done a fishtail, you just divide the hair into 2 sections. You take a small piece from the bottom and loop it over to the other side. Fishtailing that, crossing the pieces from the bottom of the left here over to the right, and then once you get that all fishtailed, just put another tiny little rubber band on the end of the hair to hold it in place. So tightly securing that with the rubber band. And then I just pull the pieces out a little bit to make it look a little bit undone in the fishtail and up in the looped parts at the top. Just straightening those out and tucking hair in where it was slipping out or looked a little crooked. And that's the finished look. Okay, this next look is going to be an updo with a French braid leading into a bun. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a section from the top of her head, and I'm going to go farther down on one side than I did on the other, because I'm going to take the braid kind of in on the side of her head so it kind of curves around. So I'm just French braiding, and make sure you take the hair all the way from the temple on one side and cross it over. And again on this one, I'm making sure to leave pieces out at her temples to frame her face. So I'm kind of curving the braid so it swoops around the side of her head. And you can end it wherever you want your bun to be. I took it all the way back around to the center of her skull in the back. So I'm just finishing the braid and making sure that I've gone a little farther than I want to, that way in case when I'm putting her hair up, if it falls out a little bit, it won't matter and there won't be a big space between where the braid ends and the bun starts. So I'm gathering all her hair up, and I'm just twisting it around my finger to a spiral, and then twisting that into a round bun. And you make sure you spin it as you go and tuck in all the ends and the loose pieces, and then just hold it in place and wrap the hairband around it. And there you go, that's the second finished look. Another option for this hairstyle, if you want a little bit of a neater bun, to put it a little like closer to your head if you're very good at doing buns and you don't want it to look like a ponytail, maybe you want it to look a little fancier, is you can use spiral pins. So you do the same thing, just twist the hair around your finger and then into a bun, and make sure you tuck all the loose ends in so they don't fall out. And you just take your spiral pin and put one at the top of the bun and just twist it in. And then make sure you hold it tight because the bottom will fall out if not. And then you take the other spiral pin and you do the same thing on the bottom, and you make sure you don't get those tangled together. And you're done. Okay, for our last look, we're going to be doing a Dutch braid, which if you don't know is just a French braid but inside out. So instead of crossing the hair over the middle piece, you'll be crossing it under. So I'm just taking a section from the top of her head, and this one I'm going to be doing straight back. So I'm not taking it from the side. So for this braid, instead of putting all the hair in it, I'm just taking pieces from the edge of her scalp. That way you can kind of see through the braid to the rest of her hair. So I'm just taking pieces from the outside of her hair and braiding them in. Small pieces, and try to keep them even. Mine kind of weren't even, so the braid turned out a little crooked. And now that I've gotten all the way around her hair and gone all the way around the perimeter, I'm going to start taking bigger chunks so I can incorporate the leftover hair into the braid. So once you have all the hair in the braid, braid as far down as you can and then secure it with a gum band. I used like a normal sized ponytail one, but if you want it to be less visible, you can use a smaller one or a clear one. And then I just pulled the pieces of the braid out a little bit, like I did in the first one, to make it look a little more undone and piecey. I'm just tucking in loose hairs that I hadn't pulled into the braid tight enough. And you're done.